sweet fluffy clouds of Swiss meringue. They can be a little intimidating to make, but in this video I'm going to show you a super straightforward and easy technique that's going to make you want to make Swiss meringue over and over again. Hi, I'm Chef Sabrina, teaching you the cooking and baking techniques you need to tackle any dish you've always been too afraid of trying. And if you like my videos, please consider subscribing. So there are three main types of meringue: French, Swiss, and Italian. French is supposed to be the easiest one because you basically just whip the egg whites with sugar and you don't have to cook anything. But I think it's the easiest also to screw up because if you over whip it, that's it. They're broken and you have to throw them away. The Italian meringue is the most stable, but it's also the one that requires a little bit more technique because you have to make a sugar syrup first, which you then pour inside the mixer where you're whipping your egg whites. And it creates a very fluffy and sticky meringue that it's also the base for a lot of confections like nougat and marshmallows. And if you'd like to learn how to make Italian meringue, let me know in the comments below because I can also teach you that. But today we're going to be making Swiss meringue, which is my favorite. And it's really straightforward, it's foolproof, and you can make so many things after you make Swiss meringue, including the super famous Swiss meringue buttercream to cover your cupcakes and your cakes. And then you can make, little cookies like this and a bunch of other things that I'm going to show you and mention later on. So let's get started because it's so easy and so quick. You're just going to run and start making it right now. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do is have a bain-marie, and that's basically just some water that we're gonna bring to a boil and then lower to a simmer to cook our egg whites with our sugar. However, the important thing is that the pot, the opening is big enough to fit our bowl, the one that you're gonna use. I'm gonna use my stand-up mixer, so this fits perfectly, but if you're just making it by hand or with an electric mixer, just make sure that it fits, but that the bottom of your bowl does not touch the water. That's important because we don't wanna overcook or overheat our egg whites. And so then I have my egg whites here, and I'm gonna put the recipe in the comments below, so don't worry about that, you'll find them there. And basically what we're gonna do is that we're going to add the sugar to our egg whites, and then we're just going to give it a little mix, and we're going to place over our pot. So it's not that you have to stay there with your meringue constantly stirring it or mixing it, but you could go and pour yourself a glass of wine or take something out of the oven really quickly, but it's not that you're just gonna talk on the phone or leave and just forget about it because, you could overheat your egg whites and then that's it, you're screwed because you start coagulating them and you have scrambled sweet eggs, which is not very tasty. But if you're constantly stirring, which I understand if that's not possible all the time, you actually get a much fluffier and shiny meringue. If you wanted to add maybe some vanilla bean or spices to infuse into your egg whites, this is the time to do it. But don't add extracts right now because they would evaporate. I'll tell you exactly when to do that. Now, how do we know when it's ready? Well, you could just touch it, and when you feel that the sugar has dissolved, then it's probably ready. However, the best way and the way that I encourage everybody to do so is by measuring the temperature. And it has to reach 65 degrees Celsius or 149 Fahrenheit. Once it reaches that temperature, I can assure you that it's done. And of course, if you touch it, you're not gonna feel the sugar. So I'm gonna keep moving and then I'm gonna show you when it's done. Okay, so the meringue reached 149 degrees Fahrenheit, 65 Celsius, and that's it. It's that simple because now the only thing that we have to do is put it in our mixer and just whip. And we're gonna whip it until it comes to room temperature. But the amazing thing about Swiss meringue is that you can just keep whipping and whipping and whipping and it's just not gonna break on you. So it's fabulous because you can do other things in the kitchen in the meantime. So if you wanted to add extracts, now is the time because it's getting to room temperature. So I know that the extract is not gonna evaporate. I could also just color it right now. And if I wanted to make the whole thing one color, then I can add it right in the mixer right now. But if I wanted to make a big quantity, which is what we used to do at Nandi, then we would just make it white and then separate it into little balls and color each ball a different color. And we would make hundreds and hundreds of little meringue kisses, like little cookies for graduations and caterings and baby showers. You just put them in cylinders and they're just fabulous. Okay, so it's been whipping for a while. Let's look at it. Let's see. So it still could use a little bit more time. Look at how shiny and beautiful this is. So I like it a little bit more whipped, and I'm just gonna continue for another 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, 5 more minutes. Let's check again. I think it's ready. And, aw, look at that. Isn't that just gorgeous? It's a fluffy cloud of sweetness. And no, you have to see this. I gotta show you what's left in the bowl because it's just too pretty. Isn't that cool? And look at how shiny it is. It's so beautiful. Okay, so now that it's ready, let me show you how I make these multicolor meringue kisses. Another trick that I really like is just getting your piping bag and making streaks in the piping bag, so it's all random. So I have some pink coloring, and it's better to use gel-based color than water-based color because we don't want anything that might dilute our meringue. So I'm just doing little drops of color in my bag. I'm gonna do 2. I'm gonna do pink and yellow. You'll see that as the meringue comes out, it's gonna take in some of the color, and it's just gonna look so pretty. I'm gonna get my piping tip. Make sure that whenever you cut your tip, that you throw away that little piece of plastic, because that can end up inside your meringue or inside your cakes or whatever you're doing. And I'm just gonna add some meringue. So I like to bake my meringues for a really long time at a very low heat. I'm talking about 200 degrees Fahrenheit for about 3-4 hours if possible. But if you don't have 3 or 4 hours, what you can do is that you make it at the end of the day, you leave it for 2 hours, and then you just turn your oven off and go to bed. I can assure you that by the time you wake up, they're gonna be super crispy and absolutely delicious. Finally, let me just show you a really cool way of decorating a pie. You can use some of your meringue and pipe kisses. Some of them you can torch, some leave white. Then use some of the ones that you baked and they're gonna be like really crispy. And then use some of the one that you color but it's not baked yet. So you're gonna have a mixture of textures and colors, and your pie is gonna be the star of the show. All right, everybody. Well, I hope you really enjoyed the video, and that if you were afraid of making Swiss meringue before, you no longer are, because you saw how easy it is. It's just heating up some water, bringing the egg whites and sugar to temperature, and then just beating away. And you can do so many things with that afterwards. So if you'd like to learn anything else, like a technique, a recipe, what to do with a specific ingredient, please write it on the comments below, because I would love to make a video about that. And thanks for watching.